late now here is NC State going to the low post, and gosh.
C'est Jay Williams, à nouveau, à 3 points, il est bien placé, c'est Jay Williams qui remercie le ciel du Palais des Sports.
Johnson, now being the three for sure. Williams with the bingo! C.J. Williams.
I'm focused on the game, I'm focused on what I'm doing, and I can't really think about how, what's going to happen in the future. I just have to play. Hello, guys. Welcome back to Courtside Chronicles Cafe with CJ Williams. Today's episode was going to be more approached. It's going to be one that is me reaching out to you guys, asking you guys questions, and answering some of your questions that you may have. So here I have a list of questions that you guys wanted me to answer about, the lifestyle of a basketball player and being overseas and anything about basketball. Okay, first question that I have received, it's pretty funny to me because of what I'm wearing, but were you a part of the Lob City roster? And this is coming from Toma AB08. Unfortunately, I was not a part of the Lob City. Technically, some of it, but not all of it. Chris Paul had been traded right before the season before I got there, and I was able to be there with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, but they traded for, I believe, Patrick Beverley and Montrezl Harrell. So those guys were my teammates, but unfortunately, I was not with CP during his time with the Clippers. It would have been a blessing to be able to play with those guys, but it was a blessing just to be in the NBA for me. So accomplished a real life goal there, and so I embraced where I was when I was there. To answer the next question from Adi, and I apologize in advance if I mess you guys' names up. It's a little difficult when you're an English speaker and you may have questions from people from other countries. It says Adi.MICUT. Tell us about the NBA lifestyle. So an interesting thing about the NBA lifestyle is that for everyone it's different. Me, I'm not one of those guys who made millions of dollars at a young age. So my lifestyle was a little different from other guys who may have the money from the age they're 19, 18 years old. So for me, the NBA lifestyle was more about basketball. I spent a lot of time in the gym. A typical day for me, specifically when I was with the Clippers, but even with the Timberwolves, I would get up around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I would have to be at the gym at 8:30 because we had a personal chef for the team in the building. And so I would go to the gym and get some food as I'm getting ready for practice. Being considered a young guy on the team, where I have less experience in the NBA than other guys, after I ate my breakfast, I would have what's called early group. Early group is when the coach kind of has some ideas for the next game, or maybe it's a play he wants to put in for the team. And we kind of he gets the young guys and we go through it, and he watches us go up against some of the younger staff members and see how it looks on the court and stuff like that. So a lot of times we had to do that. Then I would have my weightlifting session right after that. I would come in and we would do a lot of weightlifting. Most of our weightlifting was with band work because we play so many games. They don't want us to do heavy weights that weigh on our joints and stuff like that. And then that would be about 45 minutes to an hour. And then we would go, and that would be about the time for practice. And so I would go and I would practice, and a lot of our practices were more mental than physical. We would have a couple sessions where we would play 5-on-5, but most of it was shooting and understanding concepts and scouting and everything like that. A lot of skill work, working with your individual coach that you had with the team, and then just doing the basic stuff that you do at any professional basketball practice. And then after practice would be more shooting and more skill development, especially for the young guys. And we would typically be about another hour, maybe two, at the most two. But it depends. It depends. It's ever changing because of the ever changing environment with the NBA, with how we would, injuries and load management and stuff like that. So it always changed. Sometimes I would have extra skill work. Sometimes I wouldn't, because I may need to be playing in the game the next day, and stuff like that. So, and then pretty much after that, it's about a possible another. It's about a possible another weightlifting session, maybe more of a maintenance thing. And then if I needed to see the physio, I would go see the physio or something like that. And yeah, that's about it for my day. And then after that, I would leave and I would go home. And then it's just like being any regular person, to be honest. If you want to go get a coffee, you go get a coffee. If you want to hang out with your friends, you hang out with your friends, stuff like that. But also sometimes you want to get extra work in. So you may come back to the facility around 9 p.m. and get some work in and come back the next day ready to go. As far as the travel with the team and stuff, obviously it's private chartered jets. It's very, very nice. And I mean, pretty much other than that, you're staying in really nice hotels, most of the time 5 stars, 4 stars minimum, 4 or 5 star hotels. And then, yeah, I mean, that's actually pretty much all I can tell you about the NBA lifestyle. That's just what I know. So on to this next question. It's from my boy Nico in France. He says, "When are you coming back to Poe for a drink?" I don't know. Nico, you're my guy, and I can't wait to have that opportunity with you again. But I don't know. Maybe after this season, maybe I can stop by or something on my way home or something like that. But I'm not exactly sure. Unfortunately, I cannot say for sure. Next question is from one orgu.grs. It says, "Will you leave Corona next year?" This is a funny question because, we're always looking to the future. We're always looking to what's next and everything. But a guy like me, I like to focus on where I am right now. So something that I had to learn in order to be more successful at basketball. So I kind of stay focused and I don't worry about what my contract will look like next year. All I do is play as hard as I possibly can right now for whatever club I'm playing for, and I'll figure it out down the line. So I unfortunately don't actually have an answer for that question either, except for I'm going to give you my all this season with Corona Brashov. All right, so this next question comes from my mother. Love you, Mom. It says, "How do you navigate through the language barrier?" That can be a bit difficult at times. Different countries have a different, I guess I would use the word understanding of the English language. And so here in Romania, for example, it's a lot easier because they understand a lot of the American English, as I call it, and as well as the the understanding of words, especially when it comes to basketball. So as far as on the court, a lot of times I try to learn some key words to help our native guys, so that it's easier for them to understand what we need to do or what I'm asking them to do from a basketball perspective. So that's definitely something that's hard. Now it's a lot harder when you are on your own and you're at the grocery store and you need help. That can be a little difficult, but you deal with it and you keep it pushing. Um, you learn over time how to start to communicate using your hands more, your body language, stuff like that. The next question comes from one of my teammates this year, Victor Petrescu. Says, how was the process to adapt to the European style of basketball? Originally, it was really hard. It was really, really hard because I was coming from college, and in college, it's all about running your plays all the way through, it's about the team basketball and stuff like that. But when you come to Europe, it's still team basketball, but you still have to put up your numbers because this is your career. So how to balance being able to find a way to put up the numbers that's necessary for our team for me to continue my career, excuse me, but um, also be able to do it in a team concept, that was really, really, really difficult. I believe that's really answering more the question of like adjusting to professional basketball instead of college basketball. um, and it was difficult at first, man. It was really tough, and you have to learn how to find the right balance and you know being able to put up your numbers as well as do it with the team concept. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all it was, is just an adjustment to being more self-dependent. You don't depend on your coaches or anybody to help you get better. You have to find a way to do it yourself. um, as far as like the style of play, to be honest with you, now specifically, it's a lot similar. A few less freedoms in European basketball as there are in American or U.S. basketball. U.S. basketball is a lot about reads and individual play. Where here, they do want you to have your individual play, but it's also about doing it within the team concept, and that's difficult at times. So, still learning day to day, every day, trying to get better. Next question comes from La Ritirelia. I'm sorry for butchering your name, but uh, the next question says, "What was it like to play against OKC?" So the version of OKC that I was able to play against had Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, Steven Adams, Andre Roberson. They were a very, very, very good team. This is just a couple years after Kevin Durant left for Golden State, and they were a tough team to play. They had this. I remember it to this day. They had this one play where it was literally a Carmelo ball screen for Russell Westbrook and Paul George coming off a stagger on the other side. It was rough. It was rough guarding that. They ran that probably down the stretch. They ran that at least 7 to 8 times in a row, and it was difficult. It was difficult, but um, we unfortunately lost that game. The game I'm talking about specifically, we lost it. But it was tough. It was tough. And then going to OKC and playing in OKC was tough too. The crowd was amazing. They're very enthusiastic and into the game. And yeah, it was a blessing. I was just happy to be in the NBA, like I said before. And it was hard, but it was a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun. Next question comes from Spider Smith. It says, "What are ways to handle feeling overwhelmed when overseas?" Whew, this is a big question as well. And I'm gonna say it now. I appreciate all you guys' questions that you're asking. A lot of them are actually much more in depth, and I like having talks like this. So, um, one way to handle feeling overwhelmed is to do things to simplify yourself while you're here. Um, you know, I'm not the most social person in the world, but I try to do things with my teammates and host game nights and stuff like that for my teammates, just to kind of bring a sense of home to wherever I'm playing. That's one, and then two is you have to try your best to live each day, day by day. Don't get caught up in what's next. Don't get caught up in I need to do this for my next contract. Just be the best version of yourself every day, from here to the end of your career and even after. Um, Continue to just do what you can and be the best version of yourself every day, and the rest will take care of itself. Um, Feeling overwhelmed is a tough feeling to feel when you're over here. Usually, you're isolated. A lot of guys come over here and you don't have anyone with you. If you coming over here with no one, it can be hard. It can be lonely, and it can be frustrating to kind of come home and not have anybody to talk to, or not feel um, comfortable in your surroundings because it's not your home. But yeah, I would say just try to simplify things. Find a way to simplify it, and then keep your focus on the day to day. Don't worry about next year, next season, um, even in the summer or anything like that. Stay in the present. Um, and yeah, I mean I feel like that's the best advice I can give you as of right now. I hope if this is how you're feeling, because I know who this is, and if this is how you're feeling, feel free to reach out to me anytime you need to, and I'll be willing to help. Another question coming from my teammate again, Victor Petrescu. It says, "What's your best advice for young people?" My best advice for young people is pay attention to the details of day-to-day life. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is understand that what you do day to day affects your performance. Whatever you may be doing. If it's basketball, if it's baseball, if it's football, if it's soccer, if it's schoolwork, whatever, the discipline that you inhibit from your day to day affects your performance when it's time for a test. So make sure that you're doing whatever you can to keep yourself upbeat, a positive mindset, as well as preparing yourself as much as possible for any test that you're going to have. Be ready to be the best version of yourself when you least expect to have to be. And that's hard, but that's the best advice I have is, stay disciplined and stay focused on your day-to-day activities that help you build for the future. Another question from my mother. It says, "How did you prepare to go overseas for the first time?" Wow. The first time overseas, that was almost 12 years ago. Well, it was 12 years ago. And yeah, it was hard. It was hard. It was the first time I was going to be away from home. First time I was going to be more than an hour away from my parents, and that was it was scary. It was scary. The good thing for me is my first year I actually had a roommate, and my roommate was my teammate, and he was also a rookie. So we kind of went through this experience together, and it made it a lot easier for both of us. We were able to kind of find a nice little routine of getting to practice and going places and doing stuff at home and everything like that. So it was pretty cool. But getting prepared for it before leaving was hard, because you kind of have to say your see you laters. I don't like to say goodbyes. I like to say that you see you laters. See you laters. You got to say your see you laters, and that can be difficult. It actually gets harder with time. It's been increasingly harder to go away from home. So the sacrifice that we make coming over here sometimes gets overlooked, but we definitely feel it. We definitely feel it. You know, we enjoy our time while we're here, but it's also, you know, hard to be away from your family and your loved ones for so long. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's just there's no way to truly prepare and to feel completely comfortable with um, what you have going on, going overseas and being alone. There's no real way to, there's no formula for making it easier. It gets harder, and you just have to start to figure out how long you're willing to continue to make this sacrifice and whether you feel it's worth it. Next question, if from Tice Brothers, if you could give advice to your younger self, what would it be? My advice to my younger self would be continue to fight, continue to stay the course. Don't get caught up in what's next. Don't allow yourself to think about what other people think of you. And just continue to fight. Keep grinding every day, every moment. Always ready for the grind, and stay motivated. Continue to stay motivated. Find some sort of motivation every day, and you'll get to all your dreams and everything that you wanted to accomplish playing the game and in life. That would be my best advice. Okay, the next question comes from Monsieur Tice. I'm assuming this is my friend Johan. It says, what's your biggest fear when you're playing? And I'm going to be honest, I don't really have a fear. I have no fear when I'm playing. You know, obviously, they say some people thrive on the fear of failure. I'm actually one of those people that I think that everybody should pick their own way of playing. But me, I feel a lot better when I'm not fearful of what is coming or what may happen while I'm playing. I have to stay focused on the task at hand and do the best every play. And whether I win, lose, or draw, I have to live with it. I did the best with the circumstances I was given in that moment, and yeah, that's it. There's nothing to fear as far as what can happen in a game. It's a game. It's a game of basketball. And it's gonna have its ups and downs, and you just have to know that, and you just have to continue to do the best you can to stay consistent. And when you're not consistent, put in extra work, and that's about it. Okay, so and wow, this went actually pretty quickly. I have the last question. It comes from Gabe on Insta. It says, "How do you combine your athletic life with a close relationship with God?" One thing that I try to do is I try to pray as much as possible. I try to make sure that I am, keeping my relationship with God through prayer. I believe that that's the strongest way to maintain your relationship. And one thing that a lot of people may not know is that they believe that prayer starts with getting on your hands and knees and putting your hands together and praying and stuff like that. But I actually pray during the game. I pray with my eyes wide open. I may be playing, I may be, warming up or something like that. I go through my pregame routine where I isolate myself for a few minutes and pray to create that close relationship with God again. And yeah, that's kind of pretty much how I do it. I don't force my religion on other people, but I just ask them to respect my boundaries. And when I'm praying, like, just leave me alone. Like, let me be with God in that moment and everything. So yeah, I mean, you try to stay in the good book as much as possible, and I receive daily affirmations every day, and I read them, and I do the best that I can to catch the church service when I can. My church is on YouTube, and so I try my best to make sure I'm there on time, and I'm not perfect, but I do the best that I can, and that's all God can ask from us. That's all He does ask from us, is us to do the best that we can every day. And yes, that concludes this episode. I appreciate you guys. Thank you again joining me here and asking your questions and giving me an opportunity to connect with you guys. Please feel free to continue sending questions to Courtside Chronicles Cafe on Instagram, and like, share, subscribe, please. And thank you guys again, and hope to see you soon.